Sunfire is still alive. Now, there have been some... What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tiny Tyler. In today's video, we're going to be talking House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 2, where Rhaenyra goes fucking savage. I think this is just the beginning for her on a savage streak, and we're going to get into it. Spoiler warning ahead if you haven't seen Season 3, Episode 2 yet. It aired last night at the time of this recording, so I'm going to be talking about that. I am also going to be talking about some of my theories, some of my predictions for what's going to come based off of my knowledge of the books. So if you don't want any spoilers for that kind of thing either, whether you just want to be surprised or you want to read the book yourself, whatever it is, you've been warned. Click off the video like 35 seconds ago. Now let's get into it. Rhaenyra going fucking savage. I am so here for it. I think this is just the beginning for her. I can't wait to see where Rhaenyra goes next, and I just want to start this video with saying Emma D'Arcy's performance with the whole scene with Chase was fucking phenomenal. Like, I'm getting the chills just thinking about it, because like it really evoked potent emotions within me just watching that performance, and I was blown away. So I just wanted to highlight that from just like an artistic standpoint. But like getting into the actual content of the story they're telling in the Westerosi universe, like Daemon. Can we just talk about Daemon Targaryen for a moment? Like, he was awesome in this episode. I mean, I feel like it really highlighted how much of a fucking badass he is. Like, we've seen it, right? Like in bits and pieces, like when it was the battle at the Stepstones, or the tourney in the name of Viserys' firstborn son that ended up dying. The king, what was it? The heir for the day, I think is what they called it. We've seen glimpses of it, but like this episode was just like on a different level, because they walk into the fucking Red Keep and he just starts slicing everybody up, and that was really dope. And I want to hear your reactions when he fucking bitch slapped Ulf. Like, how did you react to that? Because I was just like, yes, that motherfucker ran his mouth way too much. And it was just like a really fun interaction to see them kind of finally come to blows, because he was always like disrespectful to the crown when he first claimed Silverwing in season 2. And you just know if Daemon was there from the beginning, he probably would have hit him sooner, you know? So that was an awesome moment. It's like Daemon in this episode was just, I feel like it really just brought us back to the fact that like he's a badass, and he is not one to be trifled with. And we see it again, like, you know, they walk into the Red Keep, he starts slicing people up. That was dope. Starts taking these people on. Then the Gold Cloaks come. They bring Sir Otto out. And I have to be honest with you, like, this did really shock me when they beheaded Sir Otto. If I am not mistaken, he dies in the book, but I don't think they ever explicitly state how. If anybody can recollect that better than me, please drop a comment down below for anybody who's read it. But I don't remember them explicitly stating how. And I think this is just a quick tangent here for a moment. This is one of the reasons why I really like where House of the Dragon is adapting the story from, like the source material itself. Because if you read Fire and Blood, or I just started reading, what's it called? A World of Ice and Fire, where it's just more of like a historical text, so it doesn't get into the minute details of all of the events in history. It just gives you like kind of like the headlines, and so there's a lot of room for interpretation there. And that's one of the reasons why I really like that. That's the source material they're adapting here, versus, you know, like the Run series, where there was, this is what happened, but they can't take exactly what happens and put it into a television show. So they have to take some things out and remove some things and put that over here and put this over here. But with Fire and Blood, it gives them like the core things. And then from there, they can actually really adapt it to television in a way where it doesn't conflict that much with the source material. And there are certainly things in there that there's an asterisk next, because like, again, the whole thing with Sheepstealer, Rhaena is not Sheepstealer's writer. So that's a whole thing. But anyway, so I don't recall, to come back full circle, I don't recall how they killed Otto in the book, if they even explicitly state what it was. But I loved that they took his fucking head, and I love that Rhaenyra did it. Like, that was just such like a full circle moment, and I really do think it was a good illustration of her like embodying the crown, you know? And so I thought that was cool. And I love how the first swing she took, it didn't really do anything. At first glance, I really did think we were going to have another moment like with Theon Greyjoy from the original Game of Thrones series, when he takes, what's his name? I don't know. Yeah, the knight from Winterfell. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But when he takes his head, he just has to keep hacking at it and hacking at it. I thought we were going to have another one of those moments, but we didn't. And the next swing was just a fucking clean cut. So it actually makes me like question, like, what did she do differently? Because we went from, she seemed to make a little bit of a dent, and I mean, that's a pretty sensitive area, you know, the neck. So the fact that it didn't kill Otto right away tells me that, like, I don't know, the next swing was brutal. So it almost like something clicked inside of her where maybe she put enough force behind it. I don't know. Love to hear your theories down below. But I just thought that was such an awesome moment. Full circle, really kind of it gave her the embodiment of the queen energy in this world. So I think this is the beginning for her. I think this is the beginning of her going full-blown savage, ruthless fucking Rhaenyra mode. Because in the book, she does go on like a darker streak. But like from the beginning in the book, like her and Alicent aren't as... Their depiction isn't as like empathetic and motherly as it is in the television show. But with that being said, the fact that they showed her taking Otto's head, I think this is the beginning of her turning like ruthless savage mode. I mean, in the book, she loses in a sense, she loses 3 sons in the Battle of the Gullet. She loses Chase, she loses Aegon, and she loses Viserys, the 2 children of Daemon. And so I'm curious how this TV show is going to bring them 2 back in. And I say, in essence, she loses 3 because Aegon and Viserys don't actually die. Viserys comes back sometime after the battle, and Aegon survives, but she doesn't see him right away. So it's not just Chase that kind of sends her down a spiraling path, whereas in the TV show now what they're doing is it's like she is grieving her son and all those things, and it seems like she's starting to like take a turn with Chase dying, but it's like in the books it's not just him, so there's a lot more weight behind it, and it starts to really trigger this like fear of betrayal with her, where even when people aren't necessarily betraying her, she starts questioning everybody. We kind of started to see glimpses of that in season 2 with Daemon, but in the books Daemon actually challenges that more with the original writer of Sheepstealer, Nettles. And that's why like there's this really interesting thing going on there where I'm kind of curious to see if they're going to show Daemon betraying her, because like he's with the adaptation of the visions he's having and stuff like that, it really puts a different twist on Rhaenyra and Daemon's relationship. So I'm kind of curious to see where they go with that. There's a lot of curiosity that they're evoking with the way they're telling the story differently. So that's pretty interesting. I'm really curious to see if he ends up betraying her like he did in the book, because Nettles isn't around, so it's not going to be as clear cut if he will. But I do think this is the turning point for Rhaenyra to start to go really dark, much darker than we've seen her. Especially because, again, in the original source material, she loses 3 sons. So they're still going to do something with Viserys and Aegon, in my personal opinion. And so I think it's just going to, like, I think they separated it in this regard because they're going to compound it later. And it's going to fuel her fucking anger and her rage and what I'm just going to call, like, ruthless Rhaenyra. I love alliterations. So, yeah. Curious to see where it goes with that. Kind of some of my speculations, but I got a little bit more based off of this too. One of the other things I'm really curious about too is the whole situation with Alys Rivers.
We're going to bid me farewell.
Now, what's interesting about this to me is in the books, if I recall correctly, she doesn't interact with Daemon much, but she seems to be a vital role in his success in the Riverlands. So they're clearly creating a tie between her and Daemon, and maybe it could just be so that he had that vision and they could tie that to Rhaenyra's reign, or they're setting something else up later. Love to hear your thoughts on that down below. But they're clearly creating a tie between Alys Rivers, Daemon, and Aemond. And that is a thing in the book, because I'm not going to get... That's too spoilery, because like there's going to be a battle between Aemond and Daemon later at some point, I'm assuming. This is what they do in the book. And Alys Rivers is present for that. But I'm just really... I feel like they're doing something differently with that, like, that triangle there. And I'm really curious to see where they go with it. Like, I'm almost starting to think that maybe, like, Daemon steps out on Rhaenyra with her. So that should be interesting. Now, a few of my other predictions, I'm going to start wrapping this video up here, is, like I said, like I think this is the turning point for Rhaenyra. This is the big one. Rhaenyra becoming ruthless. In the book, I don't recall her killing too many people, like, by her hands, but I really feel like we're going to see some more of that. Now that she got a taste for it, you know? Because, like, now that she knows she can do it, like, it's almost like a psychological thing. Now that she knows she can do it, she has the guts, she has the ovaries for it, if you will. I think it's going to take her on a turn for the worse. I'm excited to see it, but from, I guess, like a personal development standpoint, where she starts going dark. And I think she's literally going to kill people. And she doesn't do this in the book at all, where she actually rides Syrax in the battle or burning people. But I don't know. This is a wild prediction here. I think we might see that. A few of my other ones are, I feel like one of my other bold predictions, maybe that's not that bold, but like I think Daemon's going to be the next person to encounter Rhaena and Sheepstealer. And in the books, what ends up happening is Daemon... Again, spoiler, here we go. Daemon sleeps with Nettles, like they have a little affair, the original writer of Sheepstealer. And when Rhaenyra finds out, like I'm almost positive she wants Nettles killed. but I think it's like Lord Moon warns Daemon, and then Daemon just sends Nettles off to Essos. And I think Daemon's going to do the same thing. Because again, Rhaenyra is going to go full savage, and she's going to want to kill Rhaena for her role in Chase's death. Because if I'm not mistaken, Baela did even say that it was another rider on... Somebody said that there was a rider on Sheepstealer. So they know it was the rider, it was Sheepstealer who had a role in Chase's death. And I think Rhaenyra is going to connect those dots, and she's going to want Rhaena's head. So I think Daemon's going to get out in front of that, and he's going to send Rhaena away with Sheepstealer, just like he did with Nettles in the book. And he's going to send Rhaena to Sheepstealer, to what you call it. Which, again, if they were to adapt the entire Fire and Blood content, it would bring up more questions, because Rhaena does come back after the dance. But anyway, I digress on that point. That's one of my predictions. And the last one is Aegon. I haven't actually talked about Aegon much in these videos so far, which is fun, because I think Aegon, he at the end, was it the end? I digress. Wherever it was, Aegon says, he tells Larys, the Clubfoot, we gotta go back, we gotta go to Rook's Rest. I think Larys wanted to go somewhere else, but he's like, no, I gotta go to Rook's Rest. And I think he's going there because Sunfire is still alive. Now, there have been some speculations on, like, well, is Sunfire alive? Is Sunfire not alive? And I'm saying right now, Sunfire's alive. In the books, Sunfire doesn't get killed, and they connect again later. I think it's, in the books, it's on Dragonstone. But I think they're adapting it a little bit differently, and they're going to do it here. I think he's going to Rook's Rest, because some intuitive nudge is telling him that Sunfire's there, and I think that's why he wants to go back there. We're going to see Sunfire very soon. How they do that is going to be interesting, because that whole thing plays... I'm not going to get too much into that. Those are my bold predictions. Those are my thoughts on the episode. I would love to hear from you all. It wasn't the spectacle of the Battle of the Gullet, but it was still a good one. I think this was more of like a setup episode for something to come. I think it's setting up Rhaenyra's ultimate ruthlessness. I think it's setting up Daemon sending Rhaena off. I think it's setting up Aegon to reconnect with Sunfire. I think there's a lot of things coming. And I think this was mostly just like a setup episode. So that's it. That's all, y'all. If you guys took anything from the video, if you enjoy my content, I would appreciate it if you could leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm just making these videos for fun. Anything y'all can do to support me, help me grow the channel. There's another word. I forget. There was something else I was going to say. But yeah, anything you can do to help support, I appreciate it. Not going to be monetizing this stuff. Just for fun. All right, that's it. That's all, y'all. Peace out.